Hardly ho there, folks. Hope everyone's well, and life is treating you well. I'm doing a bit of a check-in. Had a little bit of difficulty continuing to write on my posts for my blog about science fiction game. I'm working on doing races, and honestly, races in coming up with your own races in 5e it's not as interesting as some of the other stuff that I've been poking at, and therefore it's also taking longer to write. But, that's neither here nor there. I should be done with that soon. I'll post that up. Now, one thing that, as a side note, that had occurred to me, occurred to me is maybe not the right word there. Let me start with the preface. I am a fan of Transformers. I am not alone in that, I am sure. A lot of people from my generation are, and a lot of people from generations after mine are fans of Transformers. There's something about the concept that is very compelling and interesting. It's, the typical warriors from another world fighting a war amongst us. It is a concept that's been done a few times in a few different ways. But for some reason, Transformers does have a little bit more staying power. Maybe it's the robot thing, the robot angle. Who knows? But it is interesting. And I've been reading some of the IDW comics that they did. IDW's had the license for a while. And they did some good runs in there. I haven't read everything they did, but some of the stuff I've read, I really enjoyed. And the thing that occurred to me while going through Transformers is that there aren't a whole lot of good attempts at doing Transformers as a role-playing game. Now, there are a lot of attempts at doing Transformers as a role-playing game. A quick search turned up about a dozen, either homebrew games or a slight nod to Transformers as a setting conceit in some other game. And I find that certainly shows that people have an interest. But it's a hard setting to do well in a game. I had a friend who tried to run a game, homebrew game, many years ago, and the rules were, it felt incomplete. Like, it just didn't fit together well. And part of that is because you're having the Transformers interacting on Earth. And Earth is super fragile and breakable compared to most of the Transformers. But you don't want to make it too much so. You don't want to say, well, that tank can't hurt a Transformer. Well, yeah, it can. But, it makes things complicated. That and the scale of power for the different Transformers is different. I think an abstracted system is probably going to be the best way to go. To do it right without getting bogged down. Something like a Fate game would be perfectly acceptable. But there's something about the setting that makes it hard, I guess, to do as a good game. And it's a delightfully science fiction concept that you don't really realize how deep the rabbit hole of that concept is until you really dig into the lore. I mean, one of the basic conceits of Transformers is that mechanical life is just as common, if not more common, than organic life in the universe. And there is some sort of basis for you to go with that. The idea of von Neumann devices being sent out to explore space has been around for a long time. So the notion that there are whole sentient species of mechanical beings out there in the universe actually is kind of entertaining. So yeah, I think that it's a game that certainly has some fuel. As far as the world goes, it has some fuel to work with, but it also has its own built-in difficulties. And it occurred to me that I hadn't seen a set of rules yet that really made it work. And so I thought I'd talk about that. But anyways, I'm going to get my nose back to the grindstone and all that. Subscribe, like, share with all the people, and go check out the Patreon. I could use the money. I'm kind of broke these days, but no pressure. I'm going to keep making these if you do it or not. And yeah, that's it. You guys have a good day. See ya.